Hi everyone! Real Deal Around Town is back with another video. I want to thank everyone for following and for being here tonight to watch this video. I'm going to be doing a follow-up on a video that I did a week or so ago. I can't remember what the date was. On the Municipal Police Training Committee um, cheating scandal, basically. I don't have much of an update on the latest on that. Um, I had done a public records request a couple of months ago to get about 6 weeks ago to get the data on how many officers and from what departments, the names of the officers and the names of the departments where the officers work are caught up in the cheating scandal from their continuing education that they're supposed to be receiving. And just a brief background on that: 100 and some odd officers, or 100, no, 400. Now I don't have the data, but over 100 departments are involved. I think it's over 400 officers are caught up in a cheating scandal involving their online training. They were caught. It's been come to be known that they were not doing the training; they were just taking the test. And there's probably all kinds of other side stuff involved with that can make it even more complicated. I still have a lot of concerns about that. But I did a public records request in November to find out who they are, and they keep putting me off and getting extensions at time in order to complete this public records request because of the volume of data. And that's just frightening by itself, that they have this large volume of data to go through, which tells me that they haven't even completed their review of who these people are. I would think that this would already have been determined, but apparently not. So the last request for extension that they asked for me told me that they should be able to produce the information that I requested, which is just the names of the officers and the departments they're from, this week, the week of January 6th. The last request for extension mentioned the holidays and that they needed the extra time to come up with it. So sometime this week, I'm supposed to get the names of the officers and the departments. Once I do, I will be doing another video to follow up yet again to to talk about that. I'm really hoping for their benefit that the numbers aren't going to grow any, but I wouldn't be surprised. I know that the departments, at least some of them, have been notified as to who the officers are, because Worcester, who's already got their own scandal with the Department of Justice involved with them, did make some public statements that they were working on the issue within their department. I don't know what that means for them, but we shall see. I guess it's all internal affairs kind of thing. But we're going to hear about that too. Not tonight. I'm not going to go into details on that. I'm going to try to be very brief on this. So as far as the actual cheating scandal, that's where we're at. I'm waiting for the data for this week. I did want to talk about something that was happening about the same time I was doing my last video, which I wasn't aware had even occurred. Our state auditor, Diane DeZiglio, did an audit of MPTC. And I don't know that, no, I don't think that the two pieces of information are, they happen together. I think they're separate. I don't know. We'll find out. But I do have a copy of the audit report from the state auditor. And if you remember, if you're in Massachusetts, for those of you that are outside of Massachusetts, you might not know what I'm talking about. But our new state auditor, she's just been there for a couple of years. She wants to do an audit of our state legislature. And of course, they've been fighting her tooth and nail. And she did a ballot initiative and got it on the most recent election for the voters to vote on whether or not we wanted her to do this audit of the state legislature. And the voters, of course, resoundingly told her, yes, we do want you to do an audit of the state legislature. So she's famous for that she's really kicking butt, and she wants to really audit people and give reports to the voters and the citizens of what's going on in Massachusetts. So it's really good. But the same woman, Diane DiZiglio, she did an audit of MPTC. So I'm not gonna go through the whole thing. We could be here for hours. I don't want to do that. I'm just going to talk about the findings that they came up. And this kind of gives a little bit more information about how scary this whole thing is with police training. It really frightens me. I also want to talk about there's been some things. There's other scandals that have been happening with MPTC, which I did recently hear through watching. I first heard about it watching actually Young Jerks. If you follow Young Jerks on YouTube, there was a gentleman, I can't remember his name, he's an investigator of some kind. He doesn't have his own YouTube channel that I know of. He's on X, but he had done a report on another scandal of there was at least one officer who had been working as a cop in, I forgot what town it was, but I think he's been indicted now because he was working as a cop, and there's a scandal with former leadership at MPTC that actually certified him as being trained as a police officer, and he was never trained. He never went to an academy, never got any kind of waivers. He never had the training to be a cop in the first place. And of course, you can imagine that can create a lot of problems, and apparently it did. So I want to give him, just a plug, because he chatted with me briefly on X about when I put this video up. So I'm gonna, give him a little shout out. I can't remember his name though. Sorry, but so there's been a lot of stuff going on, and I think this audit, as well as the cheating scandal that's happening currently, is getting picked up across YouTube. Other YouTube creators are reporting on this. So I think this is a developing story, and is going to have a lot more fallout, particularly with all the police scandals that we've been having in Massachusetts in a number of corners of just earth-shattering, mind-boggling stories that just keep coming up about all of the police all over the place. It's frightening. But some of the things I want to just going to be going over with this audit is my concerns regarding the police training and their work is I'm not doing these videos on the police training because I hate cops or I'm going after the police and trying to be a jerk with them. I'm just reporting these discrepancies because, as a member of the public, all of us, all members of the public, should really pay attention to this, because it impacts the competency of the officers that are out there dealing with citizens. And our safety is important. And if we're going to be dealing with police officers, do they even know the law? What are they doing? Which can cause more problems. And then also for themselves, officers' safety. I mean, you hear about that if you follow any of the cop watching YouTube channels or even just paying attention. Officers are always talking about officer safety. They do weird things that seem weird to us, or we think they're being unfair in many instances, and sometimes they are. But they act in some of the strange ways that they do because of officer safety. Their safety is really important. That's why they're wearing all this. It seems like military gear. I was in the military and I never wore half this crap. But I mean, it's all officer safety, which, I don't want to make too much fun of. They look like mutant ninja vigilantes or something. But anyway, just make a little fun. But they are. But everything is officer safety, and I think this training issue really addresses a frightening situation for officer safety. It's not just us, it's their safety is in jeopardy if there's just mess of who's trained in what. Are the officers trained properly to even provide for their own safety or their safety of their fellow officers? Um, Officers depend on each other, and they need to be able to depend on each other out there when they get into dangerous situations. I mean, even situations that we might not think are dangerous, they can become dangerous if something is going to go down that's bad. If their buddy doesn't have the training that they should. So, let me bring up. Let's see. I'm going to bring up the audit, and I'm just going to go through the findings in the executive summary. I'm not going to go through this whole thing. So let's see. Which button do I want to push? Let's push this one. You got that? Okay, so now I got to find the other window. So this is the first page, the cover of the audit. It was done, or was issued, published, I should say, on the day after Christmas, December 26th, just a week or so ago. And it covers, actually, it's not even covering right now. It covered, they did the audit from 2021 to 2022, a 2-year period. And I'm certain that these issues are still a problem. If the cheating scandal is current, I don't have a lot of faith that some of the issues in this audit have been taken care of. But we'll find out. We'll find out over time here. Now, if I can get to the right window, let's see, audit report. I got to open this now. I'm going to go through. I'm going to try not to make you dizzy. I'm going to get to the findings. I'm going to try to go slowly. I don't want to jump around too much. There's a letter from the auditor to the leader of the MPTC, table of contents. We don't care about abbreviations right now. I'm getting there. Executive summary. Okay. All right. Here are the findings. These are frightening. This really bothered me. Mostly, the most significant finding that for me is finding 1. And I don't know that they prioritize these or they just listed them in the order of whatever, but this one really does bother me. MPTC did not ensure that all training academies delivered a standardized recruit officer course curriculum. And what that says is that there's, I think, half a dozen state-sponsored, MPTC-sponsored police academies across the state. So in each of them, they're supposed to follow a standardized curriculum. They refer to it as, the recruit officer course curriculum. That's the name of the course, and they have particular standards, certain classes, certain things that they're supposed to cover. I'll read this. By not delivering a standardized training curriculum, MPTC provides inadequate assurance that all police officers in the Commonwealth have been exposed to the concepts, skills, and tactics that have been determined to be critical for effective policing by the law and MPTC. This may lead to inconsistent law enforcement practices, which may jeopardize the safety of the public and police officers, because law enforcement officers may not be properly equipped to perform their jobs safely and effectively. This also creates financial risk for municipalities that employ officers who are insufficiently trained. Now, I mean, that last sentence is saying, okay, if somebody comes into contact with police officers who aren't properly trained and they don't follow the law, they don't follow what their training is supposed to be, cities and towns can get sued or be just and it could cost millions of dollars, which is completely, it shouldn't be happening. But this does identify, this finding really brings to light that the officers, they can't, to me, they can't, one officer can't depend on another officer. If they didn't go to the academy together and get the exact same training at the exact same time, then they don't know what their partner received for training. It's inconsistent, and there are topics that just weren't covered. Some of these officers missed complete classes, and like things like domestic violence and just certain arrest protocols. Some of them didn't get any of it, and some topics didn't cover some of the required topics at all. So it's not safe. Things can go terribly wrong if one officer doesn't know what the other officer is going to do, because there's half a dozen state-sponsored academies, plus there's another 11 that are private, they're throughout some of the major cities like Springfield or Boston. I know there's Fitchburg State College, University, I should say, has a program. It's really excellent. The officers go there, they go to Fitchburg State, and they go all the way through to a master's degree in criminal justice, which is like a gold standard for police. And it also includes an academy within it. So they come out getting a master's degree in criminal justice. They may be able to drop off with a bachelor's degree and have academy. I'm not sure. I think so. But it's really an excellent sponsored program, and they get everything plus some things that are way over and above. But there are a number of academies, and they're just not. But what this audit provided is that they're just completely inconsistent. They cannot guarantee that there are any two officers in the state have the same training. If you didn't go to the academy with your buddy that you're working with, you have no idea what their training is, because it's inconsistent. But the recommendation, of course, is to implement the proper the proper standards and follow the curriculum. And they just weren't doing it. Okay. The second finding is MPTC did not ensure that all ROCs were taught. That's the officer training were taught by certified instructors. In other words, some of the instructors weren't certified at all or qualified to teach the subjects that they were teaching. What? So not only was there inconsistencies in the curriculum from one academy class to the next, that the instructors weren't even qualified to be teaching some of these classes. So that just makes it even worse. The third finding was talked about COVID. They didn't, during the period of COVID, because this report goes from 21 to 22, they weren't addressing the impact that our COVID years had on training. This, to me, it sounds like there, of course, that COVID period impacted all of us, and I don't care where you worked, but to get if you already had an inconsistent training program, the COVID times probably made it even worse, and it probably, God knows what they got for training. I don't know. But I'm going to go a little bit over this. There's during audit, we identified an issue regarding the management of police. Training records. They were inconsistent in their training records, so they didn't even know who got what training. This is going over, okay, who's supposed to be looking at this? Okay, this is the Yeah, it's recruit training. That's, I couldn't remember what that R was for. Okay, so this is basically what the training program is supposed to consist of. It's supposed to be an 800-hour training program composed of 358 hours of classroom instruction and 442 hours of skill development training, hands-on, basically. The recruit training is delivered in 46 lessons conducted by these certified instructors, supposedly. And using just the website, it's a 20-week course, and it covers problem solving, procedural justice, ethical decision making, which I think is probably should be the longest class, the most significant class in order to make everything else work, and fair and impartial policing. And service training, this is after the fact. Let's see. Yes, these are the actual police academies that are run by MPTC. There's 6 of them: Holyoke, Boylston, Northern Essex Community College, Linfield Police Academy, Randolph, and Plymouth. And then there's 11 other ones, which are shown here on this map throughout the Commonwealth. Let's see. I know there was somewhere in here where it detailed some of the classes that people didn't get. I'm going to see if I can find that. Exemptions. Yes, and I'm sure every city and town probably has some officers that have an exemption for some of the training. Like I know my town has. Is it 3? I think we have 3 officers that are not, or at least 2 that have a waiver, and that means we have at least 2 officers. Yeah, that they did get academy trained, but in a different state. So they were able to get a waiver. And those would be valid waivers as long as the training was at least close to this. Okay. Oh, here we go. This is what we're supposed to have the training in. 8 hours of, at least 8 hours of basic training on handling and responding to domestic and sexual violence complaints, enforcing criminal laws, and the availability of community resources to protect domestic and sexual violence victims. This training includes specific training on adolescent development, trauma, and family dynamics. Hate crimes, at least 20 hours on how to use the technology. They have these computers now in the cruisers, and also back at the station, they have a lot of technology to do their job. That things I can't even. I've looked at it in the past, and there's a lot of technology. Just what everybody has to deal with that in their jobs and in their personal life, which is good. But it's good that they get trained. So a lot of this training, and some of these training topics are really critically important. And the problem here with this curriculum problem is that many of these officers didn't get the training that they're supposed to get. They just didn't get it at all. I had the determined development. These are all the protection, care, minors, bias-free, de-escalation, important, school resource officers, interaction with people with autism, regulation of physical force, and police officer mental wellness and suicide prevention. Let's see. I'll find it. find it. Waivers. I'm not really. Really not interested in waivers right now. Oh, here we go. Did not ensure, this is the finding one, the standardized curriculum of 46 of these 46 training. Oh. During I guess these are courses, the cycles. I'm going to consider these as cycles. Of the 46 training academies, 11 had variations in the required number of classrooms, ranging from 1 to 26 hours and or skill development hours ranging from 1 to 18. Which is mind-boggling. Of the 46 recruit training academies, 2 did not submit the paperwork. That's fine. Of these 46 training academies, 1 submitted an incomplete. Of the 13 did not certify that they submitted. So still, they went into great detail to explain this repeatedly, that they did not, it was totally inconsistent. Oh, here is the certification. Of 101 instructors, 60% were not certified at the time that they provided instruction. Of 101 instructors, 39% were not certified until after the lesson, and 1% delivered instruction with an expired certification. In some of the lessons, they don't know who taught the class. That's frightening. Really frightening. Frightening. I wanted to find, I know that I've had it the other day, the information regarding which classes, I had it the other day, and now I can't find it. Okay, I'm going to go back to me, but I'm going to still pull up. I'm going to zip through this without giving you guys a headache, so I'm going to do it off screen, because I want to find where it's told me more specifically the numbers. I probably zipped past it and you probably saw it and I didn't. The numbers of officers I know it's here somewhere. I read it. That some of the classes that weren't taught, it gave percentages, and I'm babbling. But it's here somewhere. Or maybe not. Oh, I know where it is. I know where it is. Go back to this website. Other matters. That's probably what it is. That's not it. Well, maybe not. I mean, I know it's here that it gave more details, and I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. It was pretty fascinating. Oh, here it is. But anyways, it's just not showing up for me. But they did. Somewhere in this thing. You can get this online. I didn't have to do a public records request for this. This was this is online. It's right on the Massachusetts website, and under the audit, you just Google it. Massachusetts or MPTC, Massachusetts MPTC audit. And it should come right up for you if you wanted to get it. But basically, my concern has been the inconsistent training that the officers have been receiving, and I think it's really a critical problem, not just for the safety of the public, but officer safety, and then complicated even worse or compounded is the scandal regarding the cheating on the continuing education, the in-service training that they're supposed to get afterwards. They're supposed to get 30 hours on a variety of topics every year, and they're cheating on that. So you add to the fact that they didn't get consistent training in their academy, and some of them didn't get some of the mandatory, really important training that they should get. And if they got it, it was most likely by uncertified instructors. And then you add that to their continuing education isn't any better because they are skipping the training itself and somehow, I don't passing tests without having proper training. So it's dangerous out there. It's dangerous for us, and it's dangerous for each other. The officers' safety is equally as concerning to me. So stay tuned. I'm going to continue to follow up on the issue of the cheating, and I'm sure that this is expanding. I noticed that some of the other YouTube channels, the creators, are starting to address this, some of the same thing there. I think LTL Media was going through the audit in more detail this evening. So you can watch everybody and get to keep up with this story, because I don't think it's going away. One of these pretty soon, I plan on doing. I'm going to talk about the Worcester police issue with the Department of Justice as well, but this particular, the audit on MPTC and the cheating scandal with the officers, again through MPTC, I think really impacts everybody, every single person who even passes through Massachusetts. And it just in case you might engage with a police officer, is pretty frightening, and as well as the officer safety for them. So, all right. So thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, and if you could please like this video, that would be really nice, and please leave a comment if you get a chance, and share this with your friends. Share this on other social media places, so other people can can tune in. All right. Thanks a lot. I'm going to end this now, and we'll stay tuned for my next video. Hopefully there'll be another one pretty soon. All right. Take care now.